evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, right here on Facebook and on YouTube and on all forms of social media. I am Luke Roberts, and again, it's going to be a great night of professional wrestling discussion, talk, lots of great things going on here. I want to go ahead and welcome here into the program the man behind the boards, man behind all the technology of the Wrestle Talk Podcast, Hardcore Hoss. Go ahead and come on in. How are you doing here this evening, sir?
Hey, I'm doing okay. Just working on a few things behind the scenes. There's been some updates here on StreamYard that, I'm really excited about and trying to work out exactly how they're working and get the bugs worked out of it. And just working away back here.
Well, I can tell you right now, Hoss, you've been working hard for about the last week plus trying to get all the technical things taken care of here. And again, I want to give you a shout out for all the work that you do each and every week here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. And tonight we have a great show lined up. We're going to have the High Spot segment here in just a few minutes. It's about 7:30. We're going to have Bobby D, the brand new SICW Central States champion, is going to be joining us here on the program. We're also going to have the FWWC Challenge segment. We're hoping to have Big Daddy P and the Snippets of Truth tonight. And approximately 8:20 or so this evening, we're going to be joined by the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz. It's going to be a great night of pro wrestling action. But before we get things started, Hoss, you and I mean, we've been friends for a long time. We know how this goes. But we need to have that co-host. We need to have that man, the third man of our broadcast team here tonight on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. So let's go ahead and hit the music for a proper introduction here this evening of my co-host here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
I don't have that ready yet, but
all right, that's all right. We'll go ahead and take care of that later on this evening. But let's go ahead and welcome in the man known as the voice of Dynamo Pro Wrestling, Chris Rodell. Chris, how are you doing here this evening?
Hey, Luke, how's it going tonight? Hoss, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
So, we got to talk. Maybe during we talk about high spots. Don't go anywhere because I think we need to talk about what happened at WDWA this past weekend. And Hoss knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I think we need to talk about it because it has to do with one of our good buddies, one of the OGs of the WTP, Nightmare Joe. So, yeah. So,
well, I'm going to tell you right now, gentlemen, from what I heard and from what I understood here, it was a very eventful evening, and I do have, and again, Hardcore Hoss, I hope you have this taken care of here. I am going to do something a little bit different here tonight. I'm going to have some breaking news here. Can you go ahead and hit the breaking news sounder here? As many people know, we got a lot going on in the world of pro wrestling. Hardcore Hoss, hopefully we can get that taken care of.
Did I miss something on NXT?
Yeah, there's already breaking news from NXT, and we're going to go ahead and take care of that here. We're kind of all right. Thank you, Hoss, for that breaking news sounder. Just watching here momentarily. NXT is going on right now as we speak. I know tonight it was supposed to be Mandy Rose taking on Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. Just moments ago, they showed at the beginning of the event, Roxanne Perez injured in the parking lot. Don't know much more other than that, but like I said, we're going to kind of keep you informed as to what's going on. But Roxanne Perez was left laying in the parking lot outside of the NXT arena prior to tonight's NXT event. We'll have more information as soon as it becomes available. And gentlemen, like I said, we're going to talk about, we're talking about that WDWA situation because that's one of those things that I got to tell you, I've been around wrestling a long time, and I got to say, maybe something that shouldn't have been done, but we're going to kind of hold off on that into the high spot segment here. But, guys, we have to make sure each and every week we've got our hosts, we got all the great viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast, and make it a point to share this program to all your friends and your family, because tonight's going to be a great program. We're going to have Bobby D. We're going to have Ricky Cruz. We also need to make it a point to talk about our great sponsors. And again, without the sponsors, we would not be in existence today. Royal Mills Transportation, great transportation company out of Kansas City, Rathbun Engraving, the great people behind the Wrestling Podcast mug and those tumblers that the Night Owl has put out, available for purchase. Nobleman Barber's Lounge, KC, asked for Pete the Barber. I'm about ready to get an appointment with him real soon. Kincaid Arcade at the Art Park Mall, Everything Combat with UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich and Jay Hollywood. Meet the SDKC Party Rentals and our good friends over at Interstate 70 Sports Media. And of course, we would be remiss if we don't mention anything about the FWWC, the premier professional wrestling fantasy group. We're going to be hearing more from them later this evening, as well as you can catch them every Thursday evening at 7:30 right here on social media. Now, gentlemen, I got to tell you, it's been a busy week. We need to make sure that we get things taken care of here. And you know what it's time for? It's something we do each and every week to make sure things are right. Are you ready? We got to wait here just a minute to make sure our official flag monitor is ready to go. Hardcore Hoss, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you because you do this oh so well. And I got to say, you're getting pretty close to outdoing Joe Lance. That says something because Joe was really good with this introduction, but you're becoming an expert with this. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you to make sure you take care of this important introduction.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, is that time again, as we do each and every week. That time that we pay homage to the best damn country around, and that being America, damn it. So if you will, please remove your hats, place your hands over your hearts. It is time for our national anthem. Okay, that kind of, the gremlins got it, I think.
Oh, well, like I said, we're going to go ahead here. We're going to wait here just a moment, folks, because I know the Hardcore Ross has gotten things taken care of. We are going to take part in weekly tradition here on the program, that being the national anthem. Hopefully the technology will be taken care of here. Hardcore Ross, are we doing things okay here tonight, or are the gremlins back again for another visit?
All right, let's see what happens with this one.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
It never gets better, does it?
Well, like I say, it's one of those things we make sure to pay homage each and every week to the great people that make this country one of the greatest, if not the greatest country in the world. And again, we also want to give a shout out to all those that are defending our country each and every week as we bring this program forward, defending our country to make sure we can be able to bring this program to you each and every week. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, we got a lot of things to talk about. I mean, the High Spots meeting we had earlier today, I think was the longest meeting we've ever had when it comes to the Wrestle Talk podcast, because there's so much going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and go ahead and again, let's hope the technology gremlins stay away. And we're going to go ahead and throw it to our good friend DJ Money to introduce us here on the Wrestle Talk podcast to the high spot segment. Hardcore Hoss, keeping the finger off.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops, like a spark flash, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the High Spot segment this week on the Wrestle Talk podcast. We're going to have a lot of discussion here. And like I said, we got a lot of great comments that are going to be coming through here on the chat as well. We're going to make sure to kind of filter those in as the night goes on. Hardcore Hoss, I know that you're taking care of the technology, but we got to bring you in here. I think this is like the number one thing that we've got to talk about here on the High Spots. There are a lot of big things to talk about today. And, of course, now I don't know if Hardcore Hoss is going to be able to join us or not. Hardcore Hoss, are you there?
I hope so. He's the one running the board. But, hey, let's wait till when he gets back in, we can talk about it.
He's
so,
here.
Hey,
Hoss!
Hoss!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just like I say, I'm just working on some things at the same time. So,
all right, well, we got to throw it to you for the first one because you're going to talk about what's going on in WDWA this week. And I got to tell you, this is kind of, if here's the line, I think this went above and beyond the line this past weekend. You got to clue us in to let us know what's going on in WDWA because this is some serious stuff going on.
Well, okay. Mr. Lance was supposed to be suspended from this show. And during DeMarcus Kane's match, the referee got knocked out that was in the ring, and a masked referee ran to the ring. And DeMarcus went for the pin, and the masked referee supposedly had a shoulder cramp that prevented him from counting the 3. And then when the opponent for DeMarcus Kane low blowed DeMarcus and pinned him, a very fast 3 count was made. And then it was discovered that the referee was none other than the suspended Joey Lance.
Oh, Joe.
And he ended up thrown out of the ring. The match consequently was restarted, and DeMarcus Kane retained his title. And it was also announced that at the next show, there's going to be a bunkhouse brawl, and one of the entrants for the over-the-top rope bunkhouse brawl would be none other than Mr. Joe Lance.
Wait, whoa, wait a minute here. And I know there's been a lot of people in the chat. For those who don't know, Joe Lance is one of the originator of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And WDWA is a promotion that he has been an official for many a year. And I got to tell you right now, I've been a referee. I've made some questionable calls in my career. But the questionable calls have always been on the side of right. I'm going to tell you right now, Joe made a monumental mistake. And I'm going to tell you, if he's got to be in that battle royal, I don't think we're going to see Joe Lance on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Well, he states that he's going to sit on the middle rope as the match starts, and then as soon as the bell rings, he's jumping over. I don't think he's probably going to get his wish on that. I'm going to bet that there are going to be several wrestlers in that ring that are ready to give Joe a little bit of action. Wouldn't you say that, Hoss?
Oh, I believe so. And, I spoke with the Latin Tornado who runs WDWA, or actually he's the owner. Gavin Jackson is commissioner. But I spoke with Latin Tornado, and he's considering, kind of making Joe start in the center of the ring. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it out. Something tells me that.
Yes. So to answer one of Christian's questions, WDWA is a promotion up in West Virginia. Am I right? West Virginia. Yes. We've had several of their talents on there, and our co-host Joe is a longtime referee up there, and all of a sudden he's gotten a little bit. He's gone into business for himself. Would that be safe to say?
That'd be an understatement, gentlemen. and Joe has finally gotten himself into something that, I'm sorry, I've seen the WDWA roster. Joe Lance has finally done something that he's not going to be able to weasel his way out of. I'm sorry. Joey's one of my great and good friends, but Joe, I hope we see you on the program soon.
I hope all I can hope for is I hope there's going to be a taser involved. So,
Chris, I don't know what the deal is with that, but you know what? If you're in the West Virginia area, and I know we're going to have some information on it on the Wrestle Talk podcast social media, make it a point to check out Jones. Joe Lance is going to be inside the ring, and Assad, Joe is the 2022 version of Dangerous Danny Davis. I don't know if I go that far because at least Danny Davis had a good backup behind him. I don't think Joe's got the backup right now. So only time will tell what happens for our good friend Joe Lance Nightmare Jones. He's going to have some problems. But let's go ahead and move on to another one of the high spots topics. There's a lot of things going on in the world of pro wrestling. Chris, I'm going to go ahead and go to you because you have a couple good ones.
Yeah, we got Fighter Fest. We've got a whole bunch of other things going on. But I think one of the biggest stories of the week has to be the Jordan Grace tweet that she put out about Chris Benoit stating that he couldn't. Wording is probably not the best here. That Chris Benoit in 2022 couldn't hang with half of the people in the wrestling business.
Ooh.
And it has come out since then that Jordan has apologized to the family, apparently not to Chris or to Nancy Benoit's sister, which I just read on 411 Wrestling. And they got together and they're going to raise some money for a group that does something with CTE. So, I mean, it's ill-timed. It was ill-timed. It was poorly written. I mean, really, hang. I mean,
guys, I'm just going to tell you flat out. One of the things that I've always learned in not just in professional wrestling, but in life in general, if you don't have something nice to say about somebody, don't say anything. It's one of those where the Chris Benoit situation, I'm not going to go jumping into it because there's been countless different media avenues and different writers and different people who've been involved with it. It's one of those things right now. I don't know why it all came about, but I'm going to tell you right now, to me, it was uncalled for. I mean, it's one of those where professional wrestling is always evolving. And when it comes down to it, comments like that don't need to be. That's why, I'll be honest with you. That's why you don't see a lot of Luke Roberts' media presence, because social media is very, very
toxic.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to put it, Chris.
So I'm rereading this article. Chris Benoit's sister Sandra took to Twitter Tuesday to take issue with the fact that put Chris Benoit in the focus over Nancy and Daniel. And she writes, and I quote, "It's weird. I didn't hear my phone ring. I really thought the work I've been putting in for 15 years to keep and elevate my sister's legacy hadn't gone unnoticed. Guess my family is an afterthought again. I don't even know where to effing start." And then she goes on to say, "To think I broke all the years of silence, ignored my personal pain and rage to successfully put every person mentioned in this apology tweet over time and again in the press, doing PR and on my platform. Why did I think it would be different? Effing Groundhog's Day." So, and Jordan has come out since then and says that she's going to reach out to her sister, but I just think it's 2022. We didn't need to bring up Chris Benoit again. I think we need to put, as a wrestler, he was great, but yeah, I think it's time to put the Chris Benoit talk to bed.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, again, it's one of those, if you can't say anything respectful or nice about somebody, you don't need to go out there in social media. That's one of the reasons why social media is become, in a lot of avenues, so as you said earlier, so toxic in 2022. Let's go ahead and move on to another question, Chris. And the one that I'm going to bring up here really is going to talk about a little bit of a different avenue here. And that was, many people have seen that A&E has started putting together several things, including the biographies and the Rival series. I think it was their second season of the biography series. And I know a lot of wrestling fans have been talking about the biography of The Undertaker. And that's our question. What are your thoughts about the A&E biography on The Undertaker, Chris? I know you follow The Undertaker's career.
I only watched about half of it because I got busy doing other things around the house. So it's on my DVR to watch. I haven't watched the Rival series, but if it's anything like last year's biography series, because A&E was showing some of the old ones, they showed Shawn and they showed Booker T, and there was another one. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was on Sunday, but they do a pretty good job. They do a pretty good job of laying out. So it will be very interesting to watch. Undertaker is always one of the best characters around.
Well, I can tell you right now, Chris, I had the opportunity to watch it, and I'm not going to lie to the fans of the program. I wouldn't lie to anybody that would tell me about this. I have watched this countless times because, to me, this really pulls the curtain back on the life of The Undertaker.
Was it better than The Last Ride on the network?
Ooh, that'd be a good question, Chris, because to me, I think it's one of those where, well, certain avenues, yes, but certain avenues, no. I think that the knowledge of the Undertaker early in his career, I think The Last Ride did a little bit of a better synopsis of it. But I think when you start looking at The Undertaker's family and having the opportunity to see his mother and his wife and seeing all the different things about his kids. And again, I know Assad put out there that the Last Ride is way better. And I get that. And I'm not downplaying The Last Ride. I think The Last Ride was a great series. But I think on certain avenues, I really think this A&E biography was just as good.
Yeah, well, in the last Ride series came out about the same time the ESPN was doing the Last Dance series with Michael Jordan, and I remember posting something that's like, "Y'all are watching Last Dance. I'm watching the Last Ride on the WWE on Peacock." So, before we go on, Alex, come back in the second hour. Ricky will want to have a talk with that about the Brotherhood losing. I'm sure he'll have something to say about that. We will ask him about that. So we got a lot to talk about with Ricky Cruz. Ricky Cruz has got a lot of irons in the fire right now.
That is true. That is true, Chris. And I mean, again, we're going to have in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to have Bobby D, the brand new SICW Central Stage Champion, is going to be joining us as well. Let's go ahead here. We've got a couple minutes until Bobby D is going to be joining us. Chris, let's go ahead and talk about another High Spots topic because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. You want to talk about I don't know. What do you want to talk? You want to talk about Fyter Fest this week or these next 2 weeks, I should say? That apparently on the second week we're going to get a barbed wire match with the Jericho Appreciation Society in a shark cage. I guess it's to celebrate shark. I guess it's Shark Week in 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't do that. I don't do the Shark Week thing. Just so. But my question is does the AEW, I guess, special Dynamite shows take away from the quote-unquote pay-per-views that they do, like All Out and Double or Nothing?
Well, Chris, I got to tell you right now, when we discussed this in our meeting earlier today about this, I was very, very quiet. I mean, and I think you would agree with me, I was extremely quiet, which is unusual for me. But I got to tell you right now, wrestling has changed in 2022. Now people say, "Oh, well, thanks, Luke, but thanks for being obvious." But I'm going to tell you right now,
you Captain Obvious.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference, and my thinking of it is this: NXT and AEW have been somewhat doing similar things, and allow me to explain.
AEW and who?
AEW and NXT.
Okay.
Now, NXT has been known to put on special events. AEW has been putting on more special events. Now, in the case of NXT, they're putting on 4 events a year on pay-per-view. I think that's the number right now. It's 4.
And I think AEW is putting, if I remember right, 6 maybe. Is it 4? It's 4. It's 6, I believe.
But the thing is, though, when it seems like, and I mean, again, maybe I'm wrong, but you have things like Blood and Guts. Then you have Fyter Fest. Then I remember in years past, they've had Fight for the Fallen and so on and so forth. It's like everything has to have a title, and then everything has to be a unique extravaganza. To me, I think, honestly, and this is going to sound strange because I'm not a huge advocate for NXT in this case. I think NXT has the right balance. I think AEW is kind of taking it a little too far.
Because I think NXT they can't do the major pay. I just feel with this NXT 2.0 format, I don't think they really can support the major, like everything being a takeover. Because what do you think about when you think about takeover? You think of some of the best matches in NXT history. You think about you think about
the ladder match for the North American Championship. You think
about Bayley and Sasha in an Iron Woman match. You think of Bayley and Sasha in Brooklyn. You think about what was it? Cesaro and Sami Zayn. You think about
the wars with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. You look at the War Games matchups, which have really been kind of making a statement. There's a lot of things that NXT, when they bring their main event events together, they make sense. But to me, I think AEW is kind of
jumping the shark.
No, I think they're giving a little too much. They're putting a little too much emphasis on a weekly thing. And I mean, everything has to have a title. Everything has to be. It's almost like everything has to have its own little niche. And I think right now, as it stands, I think AEW is doing a little too much. And I mean, granted, NXT 2.0 really hasn't brought a lot forward lately. I think they have the right formula. So
I don't know. I guess maybe I just don't like the color scheme of NXT 2.0. I mean, and it's. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what's happening there. And I mean, again, there's a lot of things we can talk about. Now, real quick here, I know that in just a minute, we're going to be joined by our first guest. And Hardcore Hoss, I know that he's trying to take care of the tech issues here. Hopefully everything will be good to go. Also, as a reminder, to make it a point later tonight, after you've watched the Wrestle Talk podcast, you can make it a point. Right now, Cameron Grimes is in the ring addressing the situation that happened last week.
I like it. It's too bright. It's like you come off of like an acid trip or something. You're on an acid trip or something. You know,
it's a bit much. Well, right now, as it stands here, hold on just a second here. Right now, we're checking here. Our guest is going to be here momentarily. I was waiting here. I know Hardcore Hoss is taking care of things. I'm just waiting here. As a reminder, too, make it a point. Share this program. We're going to have Bobby D and Ricky Cruz on this program tonight. Wrestling Chaos is the title. I mean, again, I don't think the name could be any more apropos. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, we got 2 of the best in the area coming in, and it's gonna be a good night. We're gonna have some fun. We might have to alert the network. We may go a little bit long, like we always. I shouldn't say that. We always end up going long. So, but
and after last week's technical difficulties, we always make sure to deliver the best in professional wrestling talk, best in discussions, the best everything when it comes to professional wrestling each and every week. And right now here, I'm getting a message here on my computer. Give me just a minute. I know our first guest is here. So Chris, if you'd be so kind, I want to go ahead and do this introduction because
Absolutely.
This is a man I've had the opportunity to know pretty much his entire career. I have been in countless different rings with this man, and I got to tell you, this gentleman has been, I got to say right now, is probably one of the most underrated professional wrestlers in the St. Louis area. He has been inside the ring now for nearing 15 years. And anytime you step in the ring with our first guest this evening, you've got a man who is capable of wrestling any style. You want to wrestle amateur? He can go. You want to go into this mixed martial arts kind of a shoot style? He can go. You want to brawl? He can go. You want to fly over the ropes? He can fly over the ropes. He doesn't do it often, but he can do it. And I got to tell you right now, this man is, and this is going to sound strange, Chris, to me, I would have to say this man should be considered, and when we're in July, he needs to be considered as one of those individuals that needs to be put in consideration for Wrestler of the Year. I think he's done a phenomenal job in 2022. His win-loss record has been nothing short of phenomenal. And at this time, again, we're going to make sure our technology is taken care of here. We're going to go ahead and bring on our first guest this evening. Please welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast, the SICW Central Stage Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Bobby D to the program. Bobby, how are you doing here this evening? I'd say we're waiting here. We got some music going.
That's great to be here, Luke. It's an honor. That was a great intro. Very humbled by your words. I've, like you said, known you a long, long time. You're probably the ref in my first match, if not close to it.
And you know something right now? I want to emphasize something right here. Look over Bobby D's shoulder. If any man in a span of what would you say, Bobby? 3 months?
Yeah, it was back-to-back months that I won these two things: the Central States title and the Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup.
Back-to-back months, and he has two of the most coveted pieces of hardware in SICW. If you can't say that this man got a wave of momentum, you've got to put Bobby D in the mix here. Now, Bobby, I want to go ahead and take a little bit. I know a lot of people know you inside the ring, but I want to take the fans back a little bit. Kind of, we talked earlier with The Undertaker and the A&E biography. We want to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit. And we want to talk about the young Bobby D. The Bobby D that doesn't have the cool mohawk and the red hair and things along those lines. Let's go back to when you were young. What drew your attention? What was the first thing that really drew your attention to the world of professional wrestling?
I stumbled upon WCW as a kid, and I saw Chris Benoit in there. I saw Dean Malenko was one of my favorites. Like, so many times I'd rewind the tapes just like, how did he do that? See, I wanted to know how these moves worked, and there are people like Billy Kidman and Juventud flying around doing 450 splashes off the apron and shooting star presses. Like, it was these mid-carder like feuds that really just drew me in. I wanted to know how they did everything, and I wanted to do that myself.
Well, Bobby, I got to tell you right now, one of the things that you got to look at in your career, I mean, again, first of all, some people may say, oh, WCW, but I got to agree with you. When you see wrestlers like, again, you mentioned a lot of them, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero. I'd even want to go in the idea of looking at wrestlers like Ultimo Guerrero.
Exactly.
Ultimo Dragon and wrestlers from New Japan that were coming in. WCW was giving everybody their little avenue, whether it was you wanted to see the high flyers, you could see the high flyers. You wanted to see the mat technicians, you could see the mat technicians. You wanted to see the guys who could brawl and do power bombs and things like that, you could have that too. But like I said, I want to go ahead and move on a little bit. Now, a lot of people have seen Bobby D in the ring, and they're not going to take anything away from you because you are a technical wizard inside the ring. But a lot of people don't know that you have a very extensive background before you even stepped foot inside the ring. I know that a lot of your opponents don't even know some of those things. We're kind of giving them a little bit. Can you share with the listeners, with the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast? You go from being a wrestling fan, and there's a time when you get in the ring. Can you share that time from being early teens to becoming a pro wrestler? How did you prepare for pro wrestling?
The biggest preparation was, without a doubt, amateur wrestling. You break your body every day doing amateur wrestling. No greater workout, I don't believe. But I did that when I became a freshman in high school. Fell in love with wrestling even more, just a different aspect of wrestling. Again, you just beat yourself and really makes you mentally tough because you got to learn how to work through your own BS because there's no tag partner to tag in. There's no teammates like in football. You really just have to get mentally tough and learn how to work through it and fight through it and get to that victory. And that was like eye-opening and one of the greatest things. I went to Oklahoma University for wrestling camps, got to meet Jake Hager there. He was still their heavyweight wrestler and their defensive end for their football team at the time. Just really cool experiences. Learned a lot of the ins and outs. Took a little bit of judo, learned how to do some extra throws and whatnot. Just combat.
Well, I can tell you right now, and again, hold on 1 second, Chris. I want to throw this out, and you know this area very well, Chris. Being from the St. Louis area, the St. Louis area has a very, very well-rounded amateur wrestling background, and the school that you went to has been consistently known for providing regional and state champion wrestlers. And I like how you said that earlier, and the idea of where when you get on the mat, and I speak from experience. I'm not going to fib. I won 2 matches as an amateur. We'll not talk about the 30-some that I lost. But when you're on the ring, when you're on the mat, when you're inside the circle, when you're in the referee's position, and you're having that opportunity to compete, there's nobody you can count on. It's you, and you. And again, anybody that's seen you in the ring, they can see how all of that stuff blends together. Now I'm going to go ahead. My broadcast colleague, Chris Rodell, has followed your career as well as I have. And Chris, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you because I know you've got some questions as well.
He comes from a long line of D's. I'm sorry. I had to make the joke. I had to make the joke. I always like to ask, the first time that you went to training and you did a back bump, what was that feeling like? Because everyone says that everyone seems to say the same thing, that it's just like nothing you'll ever experience in your life. It's like it's like your body, it's like your aura is above you because all the breath is out of your body. What do you?
So the breathing was good. I actually took judo before that, and you learn to fall or bump the same way to try to maybe lessen that so that you can get back up and you can fight a little harder. Judo teaches you a lot of those same things. However, I trained my first bumps at South Broadway, MMWA, where they have the old wrestling at the Chase Ring. That is like landing on concrete.
You're being nice there, Bobby. You really are.
That kind of sounds like the old GCW ring that's in the training center. Apparently that's a beast. Or this is gonna date me and Luke probably, but probably the hardest ring I've ever refereed in. And I know Luke's gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. Is Carol Brown's ring for his with the wood and that you use for MVWA at times.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, when Bobby D talks about the South Broadway Training Center, I had an opportunity. I first trained there years and years ago under John Blackheart and Pete Madden, along with my own brother who had been competing for a number of months at that point in time. That ring, the first time you fall on it, I mean, again, I had a little bit of a background. Whew, that's an experience, let me tell you. But Chris, I'm going to go ahead and turn things back to you because I know you got a lot more to share with the viewers this evening.
Yeah, I was doing some research into what your career and everything. You mentioned your feud with superstar Steve Fender.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean to you, and what did that teach you?
That taught me basically to think a little bit more. Don't just go out there and swing for the fences. Let's figure out how to get where I need to be at the right time so I can really lay it in there right. Just really digging deep and thinking about things a little bit beyond the surface, if I could say it like that.
And you said that the feud culminated. I can't talk. Culminated in a lumberjack match in Belleville, Illinois. What did it mean to wrestle in your hometown?
Every time I've gotten to wrestle in Belleville, it has been a great experience. It's always a great turnout. Crowd is super loud. I mean, you feel the vibrations going through you. It's that one, the Belleville Little Devil show, and the Matt Creek show, or the Missouri Athletic Club. Those are the three shows that will always stand out to me as the greatest shows I've ever done, just because the energy in the room is like no other. You sit there and feel it, and like it motivates you. It's like, I need to take it up 10 more notches. I cannot settle.
And I got one more question, and I'll send it back to Luke here in a second. We're going to talk about that one of those pieces of hardware over your shoulder. We're going to talk about the Bruiser Brody Cup. That has to mean something special to you, being the Bruiser Brody Cup champ or winner, trophy holder for the next year. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Getting the honor of winning it was phenomenal, just because the people that have, like, Gary Jackson had it last year. I have so much respect for that man. So going from him to me.
Let's just talk about, can we just talk about Gary Jackson real quick? Side note, Gary Jackson looks the exact same now as he did 25 years ago.
I recently watched on YouTube him and Shawn Michaels, and you are right. He looks exactly the same.
Have you seen the match with Razor Ramon in that spot that he takes with the Razor's Edge?
Yes.
Yeah, so where he spins on it, where he basically spins on his head. So
Gary's one of a kind.
Anyway, let's get back to Bruce. I'm sorry, that was just a side. Every time someone brings up Gary Jackson, I have to say, you have to literally say, you know, he looks the same. He hasn't changed a bit. So
no. And not too long ago, I actually got to listen to him for probably about 4 hours, just talking about his career, how he got started. That man is another plethora of knowledge.
Sit under that learning tree as long as you can.
Absolutely,
because you never know how long he's going to be. I mean, he's probably going to be around forever. I mean,
he looks like it,
right? And he's still built that way, so it's great. But the Bruiser Brody Cup, you're now on that lineage. Does that mean does that make you think you have a target on your back now?
Absolutely. You go out there, and I bring both of these pieces of hardware to my ring. You always hear Lucky P. Oh, he's, so full of himself and all this and that, has to bring all. It is an honor to have these things. I know people look at these things and they want these things as well. I earned them. I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to keep a hold of them. And as I was starting to say there, just because the people that held them before me, that is a wonderful honor of itself. But then to have Barbara Goodish herself award me the trophy, and her words of encouragement after was, it touches the heart. It's a great honor. And
winning a battle royal is not easy. I mean, you have to kind of you kind of have to watch, because you got legs, arms. As Gorilla Monsoon said, you have arms and legs flying everywhere, and you just got to make sure that you don't get hurt. You don't. I mean, I've seen people blow out their knee in battle royal. So I mean,
yeah. And the last one that came down was me and Big Kowalski, and then the next month is when I took that title.
Yeah, and Kowalski's a big man, big man.
That very next month, I gave him a good German suplex, and my shoulder hurt for the next month.
All right, Luke, I'll let you take it back over for a little bit.
Well, I got to tell you right now, you talked about Kowalski, and I got a lot of comments that have been thrown out here as well, talking about not only Kowalski but the Dogtown Underground. And I mean, again, that's one thing I got to ask you, with having Kowalski and Mahler McDarby kind of coming together, how do you kind of keep watch over yourself knowing you have those two men, the former champion and a man who's held championship gold in SICW, constantly looking for you?
you have to have eyes in the back of your head. Not only is Mauler McDarby out there, he's a former SICW tag champion too. So he knows how to play that pack mentality, get to you when the ref can't see you, and really lay it in there.
And he has that shillelagh.
The very hard shillelagh. I felt it on more than one occasion. And actually, this coming up Sunday at the Gateway Grizzlies, I'm giving Kowalski his rematch. We'll be wrestling. SICW's putting on 4 matches right before the Grizzlies game, and Kowalski and I will be headlining that show for his rematch for this title. So I'm going to have to watch eyes in the back of my head this coming Sunday.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Born ready. I've been taught since wrestling in high school. Coach Al Sears taught us every day you get a little better or you get a little worse. You never stay the same. So every day you have to work.
Does your strategy change when you're facing such a big man? I mean, he's pushing 400.
When I went against him the first time, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to throw him. So it definitely changed that time. Now I know I can throw him, even if it's going to hurt for a while after. It'll help me retain that title. So it's going to be a little bit the same. A little of that goes into back when Luke first saw me getting started. I did all these different styles. I did the high flying. I did the technical. I would do this and that. And then I talked to Larry Mattisek, and he told me, keep it simple, stupid. You know how to wrestle amateur style. Bring that in here, use it, and dominate with it. And so that's what I've been switching to. So that's what I plan on doing, going in there, getting him off his feet. And if I need to throw him around, I know I can now.
Well, I got to throw this out here. You mentioned the different styles. And I mean, again, these might be some names that people don't know, but going back and doing the research, wrestlers that help train you. And I'm going to leave a couple out for particular reasons here. Looking at wrestlers like Shaft, Frankie and Jimmy D, Johnny Courageous, Marshall Wade, Phil E. Blunt, Brandon Espinoza. I mean, there's a variety of different styles and abilities on that list. And again, Bobby D consistently is learning the knowledge. He's going and he's learning from everybody. Now, you talked earlier about Steve Fender, and you've talked about Kowalski. There are 2 other men that I've had the opportunity to see you be in the ring against. And both of these men have been very well known and accomplished in the St. Louis area. The first one, I want you to share just a little bit on your feud with Jeremy Lightfoot.
That was probably my first big feud. Lightfoot, he did a lot of helping me train. At the time when I was at Broadway, it was whatever veteran you could beg to trained you that night. Mm-hmm. And it might not be the same person 2 nights from now. I went down on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It might not be the same person. Lightfoot was always willing to pass on that knowledge. He's the one that taught me my chops that I use still today. So getting that feud with him meant a lot. Basically, the student trying to become the teacher didn't work out so great back then. Love to get a rematch again nowadays, now that I know a little bit more than I used to. I believe, if I counted them right, because back then I actually rewound the tapes and counted them. In our last match, we had 68 chops between the 2 of us.
Jesus.
It hurt to breathe on my way home. It felt like my chest was caved in.
At the end of the match, Bobby.
Oh, well, yeah, but you got adrenaline pumping then. As that wore down, it's like, what is this feeling?
And I gotta tell you,
it takes a while for that adrenaline to wear off, but when that adrenaline wears off, you're like,
it's hard.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, when you talk about pro wrestlers, and again, I know I've had an opportunity in 35 years to experience a lot of wrestlers. But I'm going to tell you right now, the only group that has ever chopped harder than Jeremy Lightfoot is the Smith family. Oh. And I had an opportunity. I got to share a little story. I don't know if I've ever shared this one with you or not. I remember when I was first training to be a pro wrestler many, many years ago. And my brother was an in-ring competitor. Now, for those that I really haven't shared a lot, my brother was a big guy. He was like Kowalski size big. But the man could move. And one night, he made the mistake of saying that there was no one that could throw a chop harder than he could. And Ed Smith,
Senior,
stood, yes, Ed Smith, not Keith Smith, but Ed Smith, stood up 2 steps and chopped him hard enough through a sweatshirt, through a T-shirt, and through everything else and basically split him open almost side to side with one chop. I mean, again, that's one of those when you have the opportunity to be in a ring and you learn with somebody like a Jeremy Lightfoot. That's one. And speaking of which, Jeremy Lightfoot, if you look at the bottom of the screen, he's checking out the program tonight because we knew we had Bobby D on the program. Now, the other gentleman I want to talk about, you've had a very, very storied rivalry with. A man that a lot of St. Louis wrestling fans know. And I got to tell you, if you're anywhere else in the area, this is a man that you need to study on, not just Bobby D, but you also need to study and look at a man by the name of the Big Texan. Now, Bobby, you've had some wars with this man. And I'm going to tell you, Big Texan, don't let the name fool you. He's a big dude. But when it comes down to it, I got to ask you, what is it like to be standing across the ring from somebody the likes of the Big Texan?
It's a little intimidating.
Oh, really?
You know, he's like a taller Kowalski. He's a lot of people know he's my brother-in-law, so we actually did a little bit of our training together. Because of that, he knows what I do. I know what he does, and that makes it an even crazier, more dangerous match because you know you have to lay things in even harder because you might not get another opportunity because he knows what I'm going to do. I know what he's going to do. So, I mean, it's really just lay it in there hard. We actually had a hardcore match once. There's blood all over the walls and the pictures of it and everything else. And it's intimidating.
Well, I got to tell you right now, Bobby, I mean, again, when you talk about battles with the Big Texan, I know from being the little brother in a situation, when you get in the ring with family, I don't know what the deal is, but it's just like a license to go that much harder.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I've had some wars, and Chris will tell you, I've had some wars with my brother throughout the Midwest.
My first match I ever refereed was Luke when he was doing his Techno Kid gimmick.
What? Who?
Yeah, right. Techno Kid. Techno Kid. May he R.I.P. Techno Kid and his brother. That was his first match, and they decided that they were going to start the match on the outside of the ring and brawl to the ring. So
let's just say I will remember that match for as long as I live, because when you're having to brawl with somebody almost 3 times your size, and you got to find a way to keep up with them.
And Lord knows what he's saying in your Lord knows what your own brother is saying in your ear the entire time. So I mean,
we'll keep that one for another episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast.
So Bobby, I was going to ask a question now I completely forgot. Have you ever in our 8 o'clock hour we have our other guy Ricky Cruz? Have you ever crossed paths with Ricky Cruz?
I have here and there, no real big time feuds, but that's one where we talk about people I've been trained by. Ricky Cruz is another one of those names that I did forget to list when I talked to you a little bit, Luke. But he is another guy where we were kind of always on the same side of the fence, even if we weren't going against each other. We're on the same side of the fence, and like he would just give me advice in the locker room. He's a guy that's willing to pass on that knowledge. He's a great individual, and
I love sitting underneath Ricky Cruz's learning tree anytime I can. It's one of my favorite people to share a locker room with. And when we talk about people that know how to chop, Ricky Cruz can throw a chop.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw one out here. And again, we have to mention again what's behind your shoulder there. You have to say that when it comes down to 2022, you have been on a monumental winning streak. And as I mentioned in the introduction, right now, one of the early candidates for Wrestler of the Year here in the St. Louis area because of that winning streak. How does it feel after all the years of paying your dues inside the ring, all the wars that you've had? How does it feel to finally get that momentum of one match turns into 2, turns into 3, and you have that consistent winning streak? How does that feel? What does that do to you, Bobby?
It is a huge confidence boost after every single match. As you said, I haven't lost since we got back from COVID. I haven't lost a singles match yet.
Nice.
And every single match, dig a little deeper, confidence gets higher. And as I stated earlier, you know, I got to keep working every day. Every day you get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. So I'm constantly working out. I'm constantly watching it. I recently started, I'm ashamed to say it, that it's just recently that I started watching Luthez. And there are so many times I'll get on YouTube and rewind his videos. It's like, how did he get from this spot to this spot? Like, how did he do that? These transitions are so smooth and amazing. And so
You go
that kind of stuff and trying to use that to prepare. And these wins are just pushing me to watch more and more and more.
You go down you go down random rabbit holes, and sometimes you find some hidden gems and probably stuff that you could use in your own matches.
Absolutely.
I want to ask about one thing coming up, an upcoming show for the Little Devils football. There's a Little Devils wrestling program, which you're heavily involved in. So why don't you tell the Wrestle Talk podcast fans and family about the Little Devils wrestling program and the upcoming show?
So I'm actually a board member there. It's the Belleville Little Devils boys football club. We allow girls to play football too. Just an old name that, we recently got them bylaws changed last year. Anyway, I'm a board member there. It's a huge fundraiser. It helps provide money to keep kids off streets, doing things like wrestling, cheerleading, and football. I'm also not only a board member, but I'm a wrestling coach there. So I spend a ton of time up there. If I'm not working out and preparing for my wrestling, I'm helping these kids prepare for their wrestling, basically. It's a huge fundraiser. Again, or as I said earlier, that's one of my top 3 matches shows I've done of all time. Having everybody there, all my little wrestlers and a bunch of other football players and cheerleaders cheering it on, keeping that environment and the noise and electricity going through you. It's a feeling that I can't even properly describe. It just motivates you. And then knowing that this money is going to go to help their program is just phenomenal.
I mean, it's not. I've always liked doing fundraiser shows we've done for several football programs, and we did for Share, and we've done it for the American Stroke Association. So, I mean, sometimes you have to give back in the wrestling world. So,
yeah. So if you're in Belleville on November 19th, that's when we're holding that show at the Belleville Little Devils.
Where is the little?
I do not have the address on me, but it's at Citizens Park. If you go in that entrance around the back, there's a giant yellow building where we do all of our amateur wrestling. We roll up the mats and we put a wrestling ring in there and we just have a great time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can put a wrestling ring anywhere. We put wrestling rings in the middle of the street before, so
True too. Well, like I said, we've got Bobby D here, the SICW Central States Champion, the 2022 Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup holder. Like I said, we've got a couple more minutes with you. I want to ask one more question. And I mean, again, this is not trying to say that you're not going to get past Kowalski this coming Sunday. But I want to ask you, when your career is over, when you put several more years into the wrestling profession, this is a twofold question. One, what's left for Bobby D to accomplish? And 2, what will the fans say when they remember the career of Bobby D?
Hopefully they say, that I had a ton of heart, that I left it out there in every single match to put on the best match and show possible. And as far as what's left out there, there's other titles to get a hold of there at SICW. I still need to get a hold of some tag titles, and we have another heavyweight title I need to get a hold of as well. As my kids get older, I have been debating venturing out to places like New Breed and a couple of these other places. We'll just see where it goes from there.
Well, and you brought up too the brand new SICW Classic Wrestling Champion once again, Attila Khan. I got to ask you, and I've asked a lot of people. I've asked Chris, and Chris has had some pretty
Attila Khan scares the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie, he just scares.
So you're
the
a normal human,
right?
Well, here's my question: how again, in theory, the Central States Championship is the logical next step up, is the Classic Championship. How do you wrestle? How do you prepare for somebody like Attila Khan? I mean, I've been around 35 years, and I don't know what I would do. I'm like Chris. I think I would be shaking in my boots. I really do.
It would be scary for sure. Like, there is no doubt he is a nasty, mean individual that who knows how dark and dirty he will get. You just got to take him like anybody else. He is a human. You take him down, you put him on his back, you keep him there, and he's just as big as everybody else once he's laying on his back.
That is true, Bobby. I mean, again, that's that amateur wrestling coming out in you. And again, it's one of those, once you get a man down, everybody's the same when they're on the mat. I learned that from my coach many, many years ago.
Except for Kowalski. He's still about the size of half a person.
Bam, bam, bam. So, well, like I said, at this point, Bobby, I want to go ahead and take just a minute here because, like I said, I know your time is very important, especially with your big match coming up this coming Sunday. For those that want to see you in action this weekend, can they go ahead? Can you go ahead and share that information with the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast? And also, if there's anybody that wants to follow you personally inside the ring, how can they follow you?
This weekend, this coming up Sunday, we are doing that show. I believe the bell time is 4:00. We're going to have 4 matches, again, headlined by Kowalski and myself for that Central States title. If you want to follow me, SICW Explosion on Facebook is a great place. I also post things myself, Bobby Weidler on Facebook. Look for me on there in the picture. That's one of the greatest places to go. And for my merch, it's BobbyDWrestling.com.
Like I said, you know where to find him. You know where to find him this Sunday as he's defending that SICW Classic, or I wouldn't say Classic Championship, the Central States Championship against Kowalski, the rematch. And then who knows, maybe later this year with the momentum you've built from your winning streak, maybe we'll see Bobby D and Attila Khan for that Classic Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby, thank you for your time. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to be a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast this evening. And as I always say, you are now officially a part of the Wrestle Talk family. Definitely don't be a stranger. And like I said, we look forward to seeing great things coming from you. You've already had a great first half of 2022. Let's see it continue, and hopefully more gold, more hardware comes to you as we go through the rest of the year.
Anytime. It was an honor being here. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bobby. Right. It was great talking to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby D, the SICW Central States Heavyweight Champion, right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. A great first hour here on the program.
Hey, look who showed up in the chat. Joe Lance. We had just talked about you earlier, Joey boy. How you have to participate in this bunkhouse brawl match. And I think you should start in the middle of the ring. That's just me. I mean, if you're still there, you can put something in the chat. But yeah, Joey, we talked all about you earlier, so you can go back and check out the replay of the Wrestle Talk podcast. So
that is true, and I got to tell you right now, Joe, as I said earlier on, I'll say it again. We've been friends for years. I hope you're able to come back to the Wrestle Talk podcast after the bunkhouse brawl. All right, now speaking of which, we got to get things moving here because we got a lot of things to be taken care of here. Actually, as a matter of fact, Hardcore Hoss has joined us again. Hoss, I got to ask you, a good friend of ours, which has kind of become like a member of the Wrestle Talk family, but I mean, again, he's almost like another, I guess, what they say, kind of like a host of the program. Is he backstage? Wait a minute.
Hoss, you're on mute.
He's got Luke Roberts' technology issues here with the microphone being off. Let's try that again, Hoss.
Yeah, well, we kind of have 2 people backstage here, so you know.
So both our next 2 guests are backstage.
Tasers better not be banned, Joe. I want to see some taser action. You getting tasered in this bunkhouse brawl. So anyway,
well, now that we've gotten back off of that taser thing, we're going to go ahead right now. And Chris, I know that you've got to take care of some business here. And Hardcore Hoss, I know that you want to go ahead and bring forth our next guest, a man who's pretty much getting known here every week here on the program. I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to you so we can talk a little bit of FWWC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the week where we talk about the Fantasy Worldwide Wrestling Chapter, the FWWC, the best damn promotion around anywhere you can find. Of course, I could be a little biased because, you know, I am in there. But still. So let's get the man in here himself to talk about some upcoming matches this week. The one, the only, C-E-O!
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I coming in live on the Wrestle Talk podcast tonight?
You are live, loud, and clear, my man.
What's going down? It's been a while. How you guys doing tonight, man? Good to see everybody.
Awesome to have you on the program, Mr. CEO. And I got to tell you, a lot of people have been asking me what's going on in the FWWC, and I tell them they got to make it a point to check us out each and every Tuesday night right about this time, and also check us out on Thursday night at 7:30. Am I correct with that?
That is correct. Every Tuesday, I show up live here to announce our card for our Friday night challenge. But if you want to get the meat and potatoes, because I'm not going to give it all away tonight. See, I've been giving a lot away each week. You guys blessed me to be on your show for my segment. But if you want the meat and potatoes, if you want the barbecue sauce, you know the Kansas City sauce you guys like. If you want the sauce, you got to listen to the FWC tonight every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Central. So I'm going to come in here, do what I do, make a couple announcements, and I'm going to bounce because you guys got a heck of a show that's cracking tonight. I ain't going to take up too much of your time. Don't want the night owl getting on me and catching any heat. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, like I said, CEO, we're not going to take any more time. We're going to go ahead and throw it right to you because there's a lot of things happening in the FWWC, and we got to talk about Friday night.
We do got to talk about Friday night. So, Haas, if you can, do your magic, man. Do your magic. I love how you do the technology here. So here's the deal. Two things I'm gonna hit on real quick. This Friday night's challenge, 7:15. I need to welcome back a few people to the FWC. We were on a little break, if you know, right after FWC Money in the Bank, which I tell you what, we're gonna do a little review about that this upcoming Thursday. But this Friday night, we're gonna keep it simple, we're gonna keep it sweet, and we're gonna welcome back 3 superstars. Technically, welcome back 2. One's been around. Unfortunately, he suffered a defeat at Money in the Bank. But we're going to welcome back none other than El Luchador to KC. We're going to welcome back the Battle Cat and also Robert in a triple threat match. Now, the main event of the night, the one that everybody wants to see, the one that everybody's talking about. Haas, you know about factions in the FWC. There's ton of factions. There's alliances, good and bad. But there's been a lot of heat with NFG and Assassin Syndicate. And this Friday night, I don't know what the hell happened with Ace. Hopefully he can get to the arena by Friday night. But this Friday, it will be NFG's none other. Remy Ricks versus Assassin Syndicate's Ace. Now, Haas, you've been involved in these challenges this past couple weeks as it relates to the FWC Money in the Bank briefcase. But before I go there, major shout out, major congratulations to the Prophets of Madness. Haas, I was there, you was there. This thing was going on. It was gritty, it was rowdy, but we finally have number 1 contenders for the FWC Tag Team Championships, and that is Prophets of Madness. They will go toe-to-toe with none other than the longest reigning FWC Tag Team Champions in the history of this group, the Law Dogs. That is none other than the Lawman, who is also our FWC Heavyweight Champion, and El Mataratas, who is also our FWWC Warriors Heart Champion. So shout out to those guys, man. Major congratulations. But I'm going to make an announcement this Thursday, Haas. Now, you know I always gas you up on the show. I always try to gas up my announcements. But I'm telling you right now, this Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Central, I am going to make an announcement concerning the FWC Money in the Bank briefcase that has never been done before. There was controversy last night. We don't even know where the hell the briefcase is. We got to find it. But I am going to make an announcement concerning that match, concerning that briefcase, concerning swag, concerning sick, that is going to turn this group upside down, and many more. So, Haas, if that's all I got, man, make sure you guys tune in this Thursday night to the FWC tonight. Your boy, the CEO, will definitely be there in the freaking building. Turn up and make sure you continue to watch Wrestle Talk Podcast. I can be heard every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Your boy, CEO, I'm out. Peace.
All right. Thank you, Dewan. We will see you Thursday night, my man, on the FWWC tonight. So let's get Luke Roberts back in here.
I got to tell you right now, when you sit there and you look at it, CEO brings that energy. He brings that fire each and every Tuesday night. He brings it every Thursday night on the FWWC tonight. And again, if you want to know more about the FWWC, make it a point, check out WrestleTalkPodcast.com, as well as checking out the FWWC tonight on Thursday night, 7:30 Central Time. Great program. See the CEO and all the great members of the FWWC. And you know something, Haas? With all of our tech issues last week, we had something we took care of, a little bit of business at episode 400. And we were going to have the opportunity to have a longtime member of the Wrestle Talk family be able to come back and join us. Now, I know we've been having some technical issues, but I want to go ahead. I don't even have to do a formal introduction of this man, because if his intro music is working properly and it's pumping loud as it always has, it's going to be enough that everybody is going to know who our next guest is. So at this point in time, let's go ahead and hit the music, Mr. Haas. Turn it up. You got to make sure he gets that big introduction. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Snippets of Truth with the one, the only Big Daddy P. And I know, Big Daddy, I know you were waiting for that music. We went back into the archives. We found it. We got everything taken care of. We bumped it up a few notches for you. And I got to ask you, how are you doing tonight, good sir?
Blessed, my brother. The fact that I woke up is the greatest gift. I mean, think about it. There's a lot of people who are driving home tonight who were thinking they were going to be at home. They're making big plans for the weekend or for the summer. And there are people who are not going to be home. And it's absolutely unfortunate that in this world, not only do we have life, but we also have death. So I'm thankful every day, guys, that I'm able to wake up and to be an encouragement to those in this crazy world. Because I can tell you right now, the world, it's not going to get easier. So if my job, if the only thing I'm really called to do here is to just love on people, well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to share them truth when the opportunity comes up. I don't have to force my love for God on anybody. I just love them. And if they want to know where my love comes from, I tell them.
Well, Perry, I got to tell you right now, this is one of the segments that I always love each and every week of the program, because you flat out, you tell it how it is. You bring it from the heart each and every week. And again, I say it's very, very fortunate that we finally, with episode 400, when we brought you back on the program, and the energy that you bring to this show each and every week, again, it feels like we're back being complete, being whole here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And again, that's a big part to you and what you bring each and every week. Now, I do have to we've had a couple people bring up some information here. It wasn't necessarily, I know the Night Owl posted something on the Wrestle Talk podcast social media regarding requests. I know we have two. One for those, and one of our viewers brought it up earlier on. A longtime radio personality here in the St. Louis area, Jeff Burton.
I have one.
Yeah, it was about a year ago with prostate cancer. Is that correct, Chris?
Oh, I believe he's got all kinds of cancer, and he is now on hospice right now. And they couldn't make any. They couldn't do anything else. He's on hospice. He's a longtime wrestling fan. So
what was his first name again?
Jeff Burton.
Jeff
Burton.
And also, we need to give a shout out to a man that Chris and I know very well, a gentleman by the name of
Moondog Grover had after the show had some chest pains, had to go into the hospital. He had a emergency surgery, but he is resting well in a room and is looking forward to coming back. It's going to be a little bit of work, but he's planning on coming back. So Moondog is something I definitely want to send a shout out to.
I agree with you, Chris. Moondog has been around professional wrestling for a long time. He's been one of the staples of the St. Louis professional wrestling community, and I had the opportunity. I heard that through some mutual sources this past weekend. And again, he's one of the staples of the St. Louis wrestling scene. And
our first guest said Moondog is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the business. So
I couldn't agree with you more there, Bobby. I guess I don't recall any others coming in at this point. Bear with me here just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and check here. Don't see anything else coming up. Hardcore Hoss, is there anything that anybody want to miss in here tonight?
None that I have personally seen, no.
All right. Well, like I said, we want to make sure we can make sure to take care of those two, and anybody else who's having some problems, having some issues, having anything that's on their mind. Perry, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to you because, like I said, this is something that you do oh so well, and just making sure that we take care of those that are having issues.
You know, one of the most amazing things about the Lord is the fact that he's the one who wrote the words "come." So because he brought the invitation, I can't help but take these petitions and take these prayers and send them where they belong, because ultimately he's got all the facts. I don't. My job is just to be obedient, and when the Lord says pray, I pray. So for all the prayer requests, I'm also going in for back surgery tomorrow. I've got an L4, L5 fusion. So just pray for a quick recovery. It's been a long 12 weeks on my back. I'm actually sitting up pretty high right now just because I got to look cool. You know what I mean?
You don't have any problem with that. So
let's go ahead and pray, and then I will give you guys a snippet of truth for you tonight, and then y'all can go on with this wonderful show. Thank you for your continued dedication, for your continued passion. This world needs passionate people, and wrestling fans are passionate, and we need to be passionate, because if we are not passionate, the opposite of passion is boring, and I don't have time for that. Now, let's pray. Father God, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity that you've given us to come before you with these petitions. You know, every one of them, you have all the facts about all these situations, especially with the physical healings. Father, we pray that you would continue to give comfort to them, for pain is never fun, no matter what you're going through, no matter what the situation is. For those fathers that have lost somebody today, I pray that you would fill their heart with you, that they would come to know who you are. Father, I thank you so much for the opportunity that we have, that we can come to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without a voicemail, without a busy signal, always ready to hear our petitions. So for all the prayer requests that got sent in, Father, I pray that your healing hands would be on them, that you would continue to comfort them, that you would continue to open every door that needs to be open for every worker here today, close every door that needs to be closed. And Father, most importantly for this business, that you would continue to grow it, that you would continue to keep all the boys and girls healthy, that you would continue to strengthen them. For those that are managers and promoters of these promotions, we pray that you continue to bless their coming ins and goings, because we know we love this business. We know this business has given us so much, and that's why we continue to give back to it. So we thank you so much, and we love you. And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So do you have a, this is going to be the dumbest question I've asked all night. Do you have a snippet of truth for us?
I do. And matter of fact, it's probably one of the most important. A lot of people, when they see the words faith without works is dead in the book of James, they always like to apply it to salvation. And I'd like to remind them that the word saved has more than one meaning. So if I say faith without works is dead, and the scripture after it says, if a man is without food and you have it and don't give it to him, what good is it? So my snippet of truth to you today is the following. Biblical knowledge is awesome. Knowing the Bible is even better. But ultimately, if you don't apply it, it's useless. He says, you will know my disciples by this, love. Love is the key, guys. No matter how angry, no matter how bitter, no matter how bad things get, just continue to love him, continue to love one another, and I can promise you, you will have a life far more blessed than you thought is possible.
Truer words could not be spoken, Perry. And like I said, I want to say thank you for coming on the program here tonight. I know for a fact you've got a very busy day tomorrow. I know.
Recovery, baby. I got to get back to being the man. When your back goes out, you ain't playing. I don't care how tall you are. I don't care how big you are. If your back goes out, it's out. And when you can't move, you can't move. And it's been a long 12 weeks. I've had to wait on surgery because my sugar was too high. So I had to lose a bunch of weight. So I'm down to 273. Praise God. Going for 250. it's just so great sometimes to be able to look in the mirror and know that after all this hard work of eating salad, nothing but salad, I'm eating salad all the time, but I need to do that in order to achieve the goals that the Lord wants me to achieve, because I need to be around for this show. I need to be around for my kids. I've got 10 daughters, so you just never know when the Lord's going to have them need me. So I thank you guys for this opportunity. I love you. Again, if you guys have any prayer requests, Perry@paintersdream.com. Go to Facebook, Perry Hartman, Instagram, Perry Hartman, but PerryHartman. I love you guys. And if any Tuesday you need me, I'm here. You just let me know.
Like I said, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that your recovery goes super smooth, and we're going to see you back here on the program with all your energy and all your snippets of truth right back here just as soon as you possibly can.
Thanks, Big Daddy P.
My pleasure, guys. Love you. Until next time.
Talk to you soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, snippets of truth with Big Daddy P always brings it each and every week here.
Well,
and you know something, Chris? We're just going to keep rolling here.
We're going to roll because our next guest is backstage, and he is an international superstar. He's held titles all over the world, all over the Midwest. He's one of the most decorated. I believe at one point his title bag had like 5 belts in them from not just the local area, but from like Mexico and Puerto Rico. So it is my pleasure to welcome in one of the members of the Brotherhood, former Dynamo Pro heavyweight champion, former guy, the list could go on. We could be here all night. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only, the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Oh, Ricky, we are doing fine as wine on a Saturday night. So, Ricky, how you been?
I'm good. Wait, I see this guy. Are you enjoying the song? Is that what it is?
You're on mute, Luke.
I see that. Well, first of all,
we get the music going, though, man. I mean, that's Ricky Cruz, ladies and gentlemen. We got to make sure that the introduction is proper here. Right.
Appreciate it.
Hey, after all the technology issues we've had to be able to get any kind of music to play for you, Ricky,
let me tell you this. You scared me for a second, and I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, but you scared me for a second. I thought that I got to the wrong podcast. I thought it was a Christian hour or something like that.
No,
like I said, no disrespect. I was just surprised that we were praying and everything. I was like, wait, what? It's
well,
not Sunday.
It's one of those where Perry Hartman's been a part of the program for years. And like I said, he joined us again for episode 400. And again, we were talking earlier on. Before we get the interview started, I do want to we mentioned him earlier on in the program. We just mentioned him a few minutes ago. Moondog Rover having a lot of things go on in the last few days. Do you have any history or any kind of stories or any kind of information you can share on Moondog Rovers? I know you've crossed paths on several occasions.
Well, all I can tell you is we are great rivals but better friends. I've had amazing matches with him and against him. I respect him a lot in this area. I think he's one of the icons in this area. I know that's a strong word, but if you go to the shows, you know that there's no one more over than Moondog. I had the opportunity to actually visit him at the hospital right after his procedure, and it's incredible how tough this guy is. He wants to get in the ring already, and not only that, but it's great to see everybody in the hospital knowing who he is and the treatment that he gets because he is the Mundo.
Our first guest of the night, Bobby D, was on earlier, and he posted in our chat when we were talking about him that Moondog is probably one of the nicest people he's ever met in the wrestling business. So, and you know, being backstage, that's true. So,
yeah.
So okay, so let's talk a little bit about wrestling here. You are now a part of the I guess we would call them a trio or a faction or whatever you want to call, with the Butcher, Damian Blade, and Cayman, the Brotherhood. How did that come about?
Well, first of all, and I don't mean that you're wrong. It's just that we don't see it as a faction, right? First, let me tell you this before I tell you the story. I am sorry that I am in my car, but I was actually training here at the Dynamo Dojo, and I stopped. I stopped the training for a second so I could do the podcast, but then I'm going right back to the ring. The Brotherhood, it's three guys that really, really love wrestling. Three guys that respect wrestling, that have more or less the same vision when it comes to wrestling. And we decided that there's a lot of new people in the business and a lot of new faces in the area that want everything just handed to them and want everything just give it to them and not work hard like we have to. And we decided that was not going to happen, and that we're gonna keep the tradition of professional wrestling alive, and that everybody needs to earn what they get. And a lot of people saw it with negative eyes. A lot of people saw it as we were the bad guys, and that's okay. I am like Batman says, I am what the people need me to be. And some people hate me and some people love us. That's the truth. You can say that we're the baddest guys at South Broadway when we go to the shows, but there's a lot of people that like us for what we are. We are three veterans with over 20 years of experience, each one, that really love wrestling and really respect the business of wrestling. And we're teaching all the new people that they better respect the business or get out of it.
And I've been at last couple Broadway shows. What you seem to have you guys seem to have a problem with Anthony Castaldi and Shaft. Why do you have a problem with them? What are they doing that is so wrong?
Well, I am more surprised at Shaft than Castaldi, because Castaldi, yes, he was in the business since he was little, and I know that his uncle was breeding him to what he is now, right? To continue the legacy. And I'm not saying he's doing a bad job, because he's doing great. We're having packed shows. We're having lots of fans every month, but he still doesn't have that respect that I would like someone who has a company who's been for so many years around to have. And when it comes to Shaft, he was a wrestler. He's been in wrestling for over 30 years. He should know better. And for them to baby these kids, and for them to allow these kids to have this platform to do what they do without having gone through the proper initiation, let's put it that way, it doesn't sit right with us.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, I guess that's true. I know you're heavily involved in training certain wrestlers. Who in the St. Louis area that you're training most impresses you? Give us a couple of names.
Say that again. The people that impresses me, that train.
Yeah. Yes. Give me some names that you want everyone to look out for.
Wow. I would say Tommy Davis. That kid. Everybody treated him like he was a backyarder and that had no business in the ring, and he's proving everybody wrong. The same little kids, they showed me last show that they have a future in wrestling. It's just that they want to go right to the top in a month, and that's not how. I mean, I've been doing it for 23 years. Like respect the ranks, right? But there's a lot. Exodus, it's amazing. Ashlyn, Alexander, it's really good. CJ Shine, to me, is one of the guys who's keeping it old school with what he does. Obviously, you know that I always have respect for Outlaw. Camaro Jackson is amazing. ATM is doing great things too. There's a lot of people in Dynamo and MMWA that have a lot of future. I'm going to give you an example. I never liked, and he knows it because I've told him, I never liked and I never had any respect for Mephisto, Leon Mephisto, for the longest time since I've been here in 2011. And we finally got face to face and got to really meet each other. And I'll tell you what, we are alike in so many things that it's humbling to me, the division that I have about him. It's I know that there's a lot of people who see me that do is because of wrestling. It's because I live wrestling. I respect wrestling. This is not a hobby for me. This is not a game for me. And everybody who truly knows me knows that I eat, breathe, and sleep wrestling.
And you're one of I will go out, and this is not going out on very much of a limb, but you are one of the best that I have ever seen in the ring. You're one of the smartest wrestlers I've ever seen. I love sitting underneath your learning tree. I love sharing a locker room with you. So that's one of my favorite things is to share a locker room with you. So I'm gonna send it over to my to Luke. He's got some questions for you. So.
And I got a lot of them. The first one I'm going to go out there. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about this Friday night. Red, White, and Brawl, Arnold, Missouri. I know that you are very much looking forward to this coming event, this coming Friday night.
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to share in regards to this coming Friday night?
Well, one of the biggest things for me and that I'm excited about is that since I got here in 2011, everybody has told me you have to be in the ring with Blake Steele. Everybody talked to me about he's a great wrestler. But he wrestled in different companies that I did at the time, and we never crossed paths. For the first time ever, we're going to be in the same ring, and Arnold, and that's exciting to me because I always want to test myself, and I always want to be in the ring with the best. And I had the opportunity of have great wars in the ring with people like Durton, who I consider a great wrestler. I wrestled all over the Midwest with Jeremy Wyatt, who I think is one of the best ones in the area. And now I finally can put that little point that has been on my finally it's going to happen this Friday in Arnold, Missouri.
Nice. I'm looking for. I'm going to look forward to that. So
I got to tell you right now, I've had the opportunity. Blake Steele has been known by many people as the Apex, I believe, is what his moniker is. And I'm going to tell you, Ricky, it's going to be a matchup a lot of fans need to come to Arnold, Missouri, and see, because he brings a completely different style that a lot of fans aren't familiar with. And seeing yourself and Blake Steele face to face inside that ring at Arnold at Dynamo Pro this Friday night, that's definitely going to be a match that a lot of fans need to be in attendance for, because it's going to be one, honestly, I feel, that fans are going to talk about for a long time to come. Now, the second question I've got here is going back to the Brotherhood, and you've talked about what makes up the Brotherhood. I've been kind of thinking about this since we had our meeting earlier today. To you, what would make, or what characteristics would make an ideal member for the Brotherhood?
Did we lose?
I think we lost Ricky, but that's okay, because I know that he's going to have to think about that question.
Right. I mean,
you look at the Brotherhood as it is right now. You've got Cayman, the Butcher Damian Blade, and the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz. These three men, I'm not going to lie, I've been in countless promotions with them. They all bring something to the table each and every time that you've got to be prepared for.
Right. And this past Saturday at MMWA, he wrestled the Brotherhood wrestled Dragon's Guild, the new MMWA tag team champions, and the MMWA champion, the current collector of belts, Benjamin Trust.
Well, again, that's one of those where I know a lot of our viewers have been putting messages out there talking about how they lost in that matchup. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to get Ricky Cruz back here in just a moment. Like we're having
and him breaking that news that it's going to be Ricky Cruz versus Blake Steele. I mean, you've been in the ring with Blake Steele as a referee. I mean,
he's double tough. I mean, I had an opportunity. It was the match I can remember was, and again, this is going to throw some names out there a lot of people may not be familiar with, was him and Jimmy Carrot. I think it was 24K Jimmy Carrot. And
was that Jimmy Jacobs' partner?
No. This was a different gentleman. And in the process of everything, Blake Steele, I believe, broke his ankle. and managed to still go for like 7 or 8 minutes, and I believe wound up getting the W in the matchup on a broken ankle. I mean, this man is double tough. He's been all around Central Illinois. There's a lot of people that know the name Blake Steele. And Ricky Cruz is back.
There we go.
About your matchup this coming Friday. Now, I'm going to go back. You talked about the Brotherhood earlier on.
Rodell?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
We got you.
I couldn't see. Luke, for a second there, I lost you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not a
It
problem.
happens.
We were talking about the Brotherhood. We were talking about the matchup this Friday. But I got to ask you, when you talk about the Butcher, Damian Blade, Cayman, and yourself as the Brotherhood, what characteristics in a wrestler do you think a member of the Brotherhood needs to have?
Well, dedication is a big thing. Respect for wrestling, it's the main thing. And respect tradition, respect the veterans, respect the ranks, and try to learn, because, like I just showed you, I have 22 years in wrestling, and here I am training on a Tuesday night. Like
You never stop learning, do you?
never, ever. And there's always, everywhere I go, I try to see the guys that are wrestling that I've never seen and try to learn, because you in wrestling, you never stop learning, ever. I'll tell you what, though, like, people think, like I said, that the Brotherhood, it's a wrestling group and it's a faction. We talk with each other daily. We look out for each other daily. We get together outside of wrestling. We are a legit family. I love their kids like they're my nephews, and same them with my son. We are truly a brotherhood. This is not a little wrestling gimmick. This is for real.
So I have a question. Kind of brings back to the family thing. At the last Arnold show, you and Abad teamed up against technical difficulties, and you had your son in the ring with you. What was that moment like?
It was great, because he was supposed to just walk out with us and that's it, because he wanted to show his wrestling gear that he just got. You know how I am with wrestling gear. That's like my biggest thing.
I don't think I've ever seen you wear the same gear twice. I honestly don't.
Sometimes I do when I really like them, but I do have a lot of them. I was Super Crazy always told me, like, you have to make people want to see what you're wearing next, and I try to do that. So he was supposed to just walk outside the ring, but then he jumped up and went through the ropes and started posing to the crowd, and he got a bigger pop than any of the other wrestlers. So,
right. And the pictures were awesome. I mean,
yeah.
I know you're really good friends with you've known Abad probably for what, years, and
out of the 22 years that I've been wrestling, I know him for, like, we've been in and out of like 20 years.
I was still shocked the time that I was watching one of my favorite shows, Law and Order SVU, and his face popped up on. A
lot of people confuse him
really?
That's Angel.
Okay.
Angel is a friend of mine who's an actor, and he lives in Chicago. He is actually doing now a series for TV with Sylvester Stallone. But Angel and a lot look they alike.
They literally could be brothers.
Yeah.
Look, I want to jump forward to July 23rd at the Concordia Turners Hall, where you're going to get another shot at the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship, and you're going to be facing what you have called the flavor of the month in St. Louis wrestling, the president of the United States of Slam, Benjamin Trust.
Yep, the Baskin Robbins of wrestling, it's what I call him. Yeah, with the flavor of the month. Well, I call him that, and I don't mean to raining his parade. He's doing great things. He's collecting belts right now, but he thinks he's the biggest thing since Coca-Cola. And I hate to inform him that I did it before him, and he has 3 belts. I had 6.
I was gonna say there was one point where we were talking to the locker room that because you had all your belts in a bag and they were in all individual bags, and you were like, I gotta go buy some more, and I gotta buy some more belt bags because I can't fit them all into one. I gotta get a bigger bag. So
I mean, and don't get me wrong, it that doesn't make a wrestler having all these belts. I had the opportunity to travel a lot and to be in different companies, and I was doing great at that point. But my problem with him is that he thinks that then going to the gym and kissing babies and looking all buff, it's what wrestling is all about. And I don't have respect for that. You want my respect? Show me in the ring that you can go. Show me in the ring that you learn your craft. Show me in the ring that you respect the business. So
Well,
until he can do that, to me, he is nobody.
I got to jump in here, Ricky, for just a minute. You talk about Benjamin Trust. You talk about this lack of, I don't say lack of respect, but I've got to ask you this. And Chris kind of jumped a little bit ahead, but I want to go back and look at something. 15th anniversary. You were in a four-way match for the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship. And Benjamin Trust walks out with the Dynamo Pro Championship. Did your opinion of Ben Trust change after that matchup?
No, and I'm going to explain you why, and maybe you'll understand. Even though I know a lot of people say, like, come on, he beat you. He made you tap out. And he did. He did beat me. He did make me tap out. Now, how many matches has Benjamin Trust has won or lost this year? Now, compare that with how many I have. And not only that, you can compare the number of matches that he lost this year against my whole career since I got to the Midwest. And I'll tell you this, I have lost less times since 2011, what's that, 11 years, than he has in this year.
And I could agree with you, Ricky. I mean, again, I'm not going to put any kind of disrespect on the legacy of Ricky Cruz. I mean, the man, you've held championships, as Chris said in your introduction, you've held championships all across North America. You've held championships across the globe. And again, I just look at it from a perspective. It's a really intriguing matchup to me on the 23rd. But I don't want to be putting the cart before the horse, because you've got a great matchup coming up this Friday as well with Blake Steele. I got to ask you, Ricky, I mean, when it comes down to it, what are your goals going forward? I mean, again, I know that your goal is to hopefully walk out with the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship on the 23rd. But what are your goals going forward as we've now kind of hit that second half of 2022? What are your goals going forward?
Well, it is right now for me. It's not about belts; it's about pride. I'm done with that chapter in my life that all that I wanted was to win belts and to show people that I was a champ and carry all these belts for people to see. Now it's about pride. Now it's about what wrestling is all about. And as you can see, I'm wrestling the people that I need to prove myself against. Like, for me to be in the ring with Blake, it's an honor because of the respect that he has for wrestling, right? I'm still going to whoop him, but it's still an honor to be with him in the ring. To put Benjamin Trust in his place is not about taking the belt from him. I mean, it'll be great, and I will give the place that belt should have and the respect that belt should have. But in Dynamo, I'm the only one who can say I was the Grand Slam. I've won every single belt that Dynamo has, and I'm the only one who've done that. So it's about putting this kid in his place. And then just to prove the point, the week after that, I wrestled Saturday in Chicago with Sam Adonis, which is the AAA champion. And then on Sunday in Farmington, Missouri, I wrestled with Blue Demon Jr., who's a legend all over the world. Like, I am not trying to win belts. I'm trying to show what I can do. I'm trying to show how proud I am about this business and all that I'm going to put people in their place. And I'm going to start this Friday. And then next week, Benjamin Trust has I hope he trains. I really do. I hope he really hit those weights, but I also hope he gets in the ring, because if not, it's going to be a really long night for him.
Well, you know something, Chris? I got to throw this out here. I mean, again, just look at the names here in the course of a couple weeks time period. You look at Blake Steele, Benjamin Trust, teaming with Sam Adonis, Blue Demon. I mean, that name is I mean, I would say
Legendary.
past legendary status in Mexico. I mean, he's one of the highest level of luchadors to ever grace the professional wrestling ring. If you look at those four names, if Ben Trust is not on his game, I 100% agree with you, Ricky. It's going to be an extremely long night because your reputation precedes you. The men that you've competed inside the Dynamo Pro Ring, in Galley, I mean, all across the country is a who's who of pro wrestling. And I got to tell you right now, the next couple matches you've got, I'm going to want to have a ringside seat because, like you said, you're going to show pride, respect, and integrity when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. And I think right now, anybody who has the opportunity to see the King of Chaos inside the ring, they need to make sure to be there and see someone with such a great reputation.
So Ricky, is there anybody in the St. Louis area that you haven't wrestled that you are just dying to wrestle?
Man,
because I'm going to say your match with Raheem the couple of Arnold shows ago was really good, and I think that you and ATM would probably have a really good match too. So
I really like ATM. I really like his tag partner Eli. I think they're very, very talented. Man, anybody that respect wrestling and that take this seriously, I would like to be in the ring with. Like, I don't care if you have a name and you're a superstar or if you're someone starting. If you show me that you have the respect for wrestling, I would definitely love to be in the ring with you. But one that I don't think ever will happen. When I started in St. Louis, my first match in SICW was against Makazi. I always wanted to have a second one, and I never could. So that would be something, food for thought, like they say.
Put that out in the atmosphere and let it simmer and see if we can maybe rehash that. Maybe I guess. I
don't know, but
I'm gonna tell you, there's one match that with you that I want to see that you've already wrestled this gentleman, and I haven't. I want to see one more time. I want to see you and Jake Durden one more time. I don't know why. I just do.
There's a lot of people who have told me that, and I tried to make it happen. Also, I pushed for it, but busy with what was.
Or are we going to lose Ricky again?
I don't know. I think we're experiencing some technical issues here.
This is the thing about having a live show, folks. You never know what's going to happen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I don't know what happened. Technology gremlins kind of got you. But let's go ahead and go back here to you've already talked about Makaji. Let's go ahead and throw the other one out there.
Jake Durden. You were talking about Durden, and none of that came through.
I said that I've tried to get in the ring with Durden one more time, but he and I was like wrestling in different circles, so it never happened. But matches that, like, for example, every time I wrestle Mesias or Mil Muertes in Chicago or in Mexico is a big thing. So I would love to have the opportunity to do that here in Missouri for the fans from here to see it.
And I just thought about something. Another match that we need to probably run back because you haven't probably done it in a while. Jeremy Wyatt, because that was a great feud between you and Jeremy Wyatt. That was one of my favorite feuds of in the last several years. So
yeah, I believe that we end up, our last one was a dog collar match.
Yes,
between us. Yeah, Jeremy Wyatt, to me, it's one of the best wrestlers, not only in the Midwest but in the world. It's a shame that he hasn't had the exposure that he deserves because he's extremely talented.
Exactly.
Well, Chris, I've got two that have kind of popped into my head as we're talking here. One of them is a match I know that you've had at least on one occasion. I've had the opportunity to see this gentleman inside the ring. What would you think about the matchup between you and Mojo McQueen?
Oh, me and Mojo wrestled a bunch of times in Galley.
Mm-hmm.
and there were always great matches. Mojo is very talented, a great wrestler, and he's one of those guys that I have respect for because he respects the ranks, he respects wrestling, and he takes it seriously. Plus the gimmick alone, I mean, he's a great entertainer.
And the other one I think is a completely taking from looking at Mojo McQueen and kind of going to the other end of the spectrum. One match that I personally like to see is you and Mike Seidel.
Mike Seidel, I also faced him a couple of times, but never had the opportunity to have like a long feud or a couple of matches. But yeah, you know who I would have loved to. Man, I just had it in my head, and the name went away. He was honored, and he wrestled on the last show. He did the seminar.
Oh,
Delirious.
I'm so sorry because I have nothing but respect for the dude. I think that would be great too.
Yeah.
Again,
Yes.
You know, that's one thing we talk about. You talk about the idea of having respect, integrity, pride, and honor when you step inside the ring. Now, Ricky, I know you've been on the program before, and you know, being in the position you're in right now, one of the things that we talk about each and every week that we're on the program is what's called the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Now, you are very knowledgeable about pro wrestling, not just in the States, but you're very knowledgeable across the globe when it comes to pro wrestling. So we here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast wanted to spice things up a little bit, make things a little more interesting tonight. Now, in past episodes of the program, we have our second hour guest go against a particular host. But tonight, we're going to give you an opportunity to make a change here. We're going to kind of flip the script a little bit. Tonight, you have the opportunity to compete, if you're willing to do so, against him. And Hardcore Hoss just joined us. He is our audio engineer, the guy behind the board, so to speak. Here's what we're going to do. For tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge, we want to pose this to you. Hardcore Hoss in our meeting today said that he could sweep you in wrestling trivia. And even though he's been happy and smiley and shiny all interview, since the last time you were on the program, Chris Rodell has also said he can sweep you.
I think you misunderstood what I said. I said he could sweep me.
No. I specifically heard what you said in the meeting. So, Ricky, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and let you choose. Both these men have respect for you and what you do inside the ring. But the question is, who would you be willing to take on tonight for the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge? Do you want to challenge Hardcore Hoss or the voice of Dynamo Pro, Chris Rodell?
So we can't do a three-way?
Ooh.
Well, no, we've never really had a three-way game show challenge, but I tell you what I'm going to do here. Just to increase the challenge level, we're actually going to have the first ever 2-on-1 game show challenge. And that's going to be the opportunity of where if either Hardcore Hoss or Chris Rodell answers the question correct, Team Wrestle Talk will get the point.
Okay.
If you answer it correct, Ricky, you will get the point.
All right.
So at this point, Hardcore Hoss...
I'm 4 for 4 in this game, right?
That is true. Like I said, we're going to up the level.
Of course you are, because you're the king of chaos, and you always win. So, well, and I just want you to know, I really like that.
It's getting dark here. Is that help or?
Well, no. As long as we can hear you, we're good. Because I know, like I said, you're on a mission here tonight. You're getting ready to go back inside and train.
We can see your Chaos Crew shirt.
That is true.
Which I really like. So.
Very, very noticeable shirt. So, Hardcore Hoss, I know you've got to do kind of multitask here tonight, but can you go ahead and hit the music for tonight's installment of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's matchup is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls, and tonight, as a special attraction, it will be a 2-on-1 challenge, with our competitors being the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz, representing the Brotherhood, taking on representing the Wrestle Talk Podcast, Hardcore Hoss, and Big Sexy Chris Rodell. Gentlemen, in a few minutes, I'm going to ask you 3 questions related to a particular wrestling topic. When you think you know the answer, you can shout out your answer. Again, first one, 2 out of 3 falls, wins tonight's contest. In honor of tonight's guest, tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is wrestlers holding multiple championships.
Okay.
I will give you information about 3 professional wrestlers who held multiple championships at the same time. Your goal here tonight is to answer who that individual is. King of Chaos, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Team Wrestle Talk, are you ready?
Sure, let's do this.
All right. Here we go. Question number 1. Bear with me just a minute here. I have to get my technology to cooperate. Question number 1. This individual has competed in WCW, the WWF, and ECW, among others. He held multiple championships in all the promotions mentioned. He was a former WCW Tag Team Champion. He was a former WWF Intercontinental Champion. But one of his biggest claims to fame is technically being both the NWA and ECW champion at the same time. Name him.
Rob Van Dam.
No.
Wait.
Repeat the last part of your statement.
He was technically the NWA and ECW champion at the same time.
Shane Douglas?
Team Wrestle Talk on the board, 1-0. Big Sexy coming through with the franchise, Shane Douglas. All right, gentlemen, are you ready for question number 2?
Yep, let's do it.
Yes.
All right, question number 2. This individual competed in both WCW and the WWF. He held the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. He is also known for holding the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship and WCW Cruiserweight Championship at the same time. He is also, if I'm not mistaken, the only individual who was a part of both the NWO and DX. Name him.
X-Pac.
X-Pac.
By just a few seconds here, Chris Rodell, 2 for 2.
God, I'm going to die on Friday. Ricky's going to kick my head off.
Well, at this point, we do have one more question. And Ricky, I got to tell you right now, you've been in these high-profile Dynamo Pro meetings. If Chris gets 3 questions in a row right, I'm never going to hear the end of it. So, are you ready for the 3rd and final question?
Yes, sure. Sir.
Okay, Hardcore Hoss, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Chris, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do it. We'll add a second super kick to Friday night.
All right, gentlemen, the 3rd and final question. This individual has only competed in the WWE. At one time, he was the United States champion as well as a unified tag team champion. You could have seen him this past Monday with his television interview segment interviewing Ciampa. He also has... What'd you say, Hoss?
The Miz?
The Miz is correct, and I got to tell you right now, in a first, Team Wrestle Talk.
Yeah.
With the
you realize,
thank you, Haas, because I would like to be able to make it a point to come to the event Friday and not have to replace Chris Rodell super kicks. But like I said, we need to go ahead and hit the music. So Hardcore Haas, you go ahead and hit that victory music. I know Chris is going to have it.
Hey, I got one for you.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and let Chris have his music. All right, Ricky, I know you've got one you want to throw out here, so let's go ahead and let Ricky Cruz take the floor. Kind of like an extra edition of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge.
Let's see who of you three can guess this one. Who is the wrestler worldwide who has the record for most championships at the same time? That's an easy one.
Ricky Cruz, isn't it?
No.
Ooh.
I just trying to kiss up by
Multiple.
that answer.
Okay, I have to ask this question.
At the same time.
Oh, is it Liger?
No.
No, Ultimo Dragon.
Yes, sir.
Because he actually had the Super J Cup Championship of 8, and then he wound up being 9 by winning the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. I believe that was the correct number.
Actually, he ended up with 11 championships at the same time.
Wow. You know, that's one thing I got to ask is how in the world, and Ricky, you've done this before, and I just got to ask because there's been a handful of people that we've heard from over 400 plus episodes. Carrying all that hardware and traveling overseas, how much more of a challenge is that to do? I mean, I know it's hard enough when you have just regular luggage, but when you're checking in 3, 4, 5 titles to travel, I mean, you've traveled to Mexico, you traveled to Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, among others. How is it when it comes to carrying championships across international lines when it comes to like flying?
Well, for me, when I had the belts, I would carry on my carry-on all the belts, and then the luggage would be my clothes and the gear, because you don't want to lose the belts on the luggage. So
right.
The belts always travel with me in the plane, and then the luggage goes under the plane.
Right, because you can replace the clothes, but it might be hard.
The hard part is to go through TSA because they all want to open all the belts and take pictures with them and whatever. And sometimes you're in a hurry, and it takes a bit.
So Ricky, it's been a pleasure interviewing you again. You are one of the greatest in the St. Louis area. I want you to shout out all your social media information and give us information about the Dynamo Pro Show on Friday at Arnold Eagles Club. This Friday at 7 p.m. it's going to be the show. Dynamo, it's back in Arnold, and as you know, it's not only a great time with wrestling, but it's great food. Great food. Everybody asks me not only about the matches, but they always ask me about the food. The burgers, and if I remember right, we're having chicken parmesan.
Yes, that's the special chicken parmesan, but the burgers are 1 pound burgers. They're handmade, nothing. It's an amazing night of wrestling and food, which is the two things that I love the most. And when it comes to shout out for my social media, everything is Ricky Cruz STL and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and now on TikTok too. So you can find me all the time. I myself answer to every message. There's no one running my pages. I do it myself. We don't get to that level yet.
So, well, Ricky, it has been a pleasure having you back on there. We want to thank you for being a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, and we know that you're going to go back into that Dynamo Pro Dojo and probably light some people up and blow some people up for training because they probably deserve it. I shouldn't say that they probably deserve it, but you know, I mean,
on Friday you'll probably deserve it after saying that.
No, I'm gonna. Ricky told me one time if I ever refereed one of his matches, we were gonna have 40 false finishes.
Yes.
So I'll do it. I'll do it. I might die, but I'll do it. Ricky, thank you so much for being on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I will see you Friday, my friend, and have a good training session, and we will see you then.
Always a pleasure to be with you guys, and always when you need me, here I am.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Right.
Talk to you
All
soon.
right.
Thank you very much, Ricky. The King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz, you're on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Hardcore Hoss, if you be so kind, can you go ahead and hit that breaking news sounder real quick? I've got breaking news right here on the program. Hold on 1 second here. We got to hit the breaking news sounder. Bear with us one moment.
Wait, what the hell did I just watch?
Hold on 1 second here. We're gonna wait here. Hardcore Hoss is shutting down the music here. We're watching here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news out of NXT this evening. The match takes place between Mandy Rose and Roxanne Perez. And in the closing moments, Roxanne Perez is attacked by her fellow tag team champion, Cora Jade, hitting her in the back with the championship, leading to her defeat. Mandy Rose defeating Roxanne Perez. And now we have to wonder what's going on with the tag team championships in NXT. Right now, as we're seeing here, Cora Jade has entered the ring. I don't know what this is going to lead to, but again, big shakeups taking place in NXT tonight.
And she's wearing her out with the skateboard.
Well, right now, as it stands here, there's some definite problems here in NXT. And I got to tell you right now, as we can see here, a lot of things going on. Again, the Wrestle Talk podcast always keeping you up to speed. And right now, as you can see here, we're trying to bring you the most up-to-date information. Guys, I got to tell you, it's a great night of pro wrestling action, but a lot of great information coming on literally as we were taking to air tonight. Gentlemen, any final thoughts here this evening about the Wrestle Talk podcast?
I thought that both interviews, Bobby D was great. Ricky Cruz is always great. So, I mean, technical snafus aside. So, I mean, that's the process of having a live show. It happens sometimes. So
that is true. Hardcore Hoss, your thoughts about tonight?
I think we had two great guests, and I really enjoyed the interviews, because I was backstage working on things, but I still caught the interviews. And to those people who commented and your comments didn't get put up, I know we didn't get to as many of them tonight as we normally do. I apologize for that. Just working through technical issues, but I promise we will start to get those up again as usual, and things will continue to improve and get better.
Awesome.
Guys, I can say right now, tonight was a great show. Ricky Cruz, Bobby D, both great interviews. And again, they show what St. Louis professional wrestling is all about. Herb Simmons, thank you for the comment here. I mean, again, you had the opportunity this coming Sunday. Bobby D staying with us on the program tonight. We've had Jeremy Lightfoot popping in. We've had a few others pop in. We've had Assad pop in and countless others here. But before we go, we need to go ahead and make it a point to once again acknowledge our sponsors, because without the sponsors and without the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast, this program does not function as smoothly as it is. And we're going to go ahead and acknowledge those sponsors again. Royals Mills Transportation. If you ever need a ride in KC, make it a point to check them out. Rathbun Engraving, home of those great Wrestle Talk podcast mugs and tumblers that are available. The mugs are $20 each. Nobleman Barber's Lounge, KC. Ask for Pete the Barber. I've got to ask him next time I'm up that way to give me a good haircut. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Everything compact with Hall of Famer Pat Miletich and Jay Hollywood, Jeffrey Wilson. Meet Fiesta KC Party Rentals. Interstate 70 Sports Media with our good friend, the Maestro Jeremy Karp, and the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter, the premier wrestling fantasy group. Guys, I got to tell you, another great show. I do believe next week we will be joined once again by the Night Owl being in the house. Again, we've had a great night of wrestling action. If there's anybody that you want us to have on the program, make it a point. Send us a message. Send us a message here in the comments for tonight's program. We're always looking for new guests to bring each and every week here to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Guys, I got to tell you, it's a great show. And unfortunately, it's about that time that we have every week where we need to go ahead and sign off for the week. Again, guys, make it a point. Check out FWWC tonight on Thursday night, 7:30. You can check them out right here. They're going to have a lot of information about the FWWC, and we're going to be back here next Tuesday night from 7 to 9 Central, 8 to 10 Eastern, with the greatest in professional wrestling, that being the Wrestle Talk podcast. Hardcore Hoss, can you go ahead and get us some good music to head on out tonight?
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
See you next week.
Have a good night.